to the Lanierjallday all day YouTube channel. I appreciate you again for being here. It's greatly appreciated. And we're going through the installment of What a Man Is. Part 1, we saw what a man is. He is a leader. This is part 2, and we're looking at what a man is as a provider. So we understand that men ought to provide for his family. It is vitally important that every man provides for himself and for his family. Men are the #1 breadwinners of the home. He is in harm's way of jeopardizing the family's security, the family's wealth, the family's health by not being responsible in the providing area of life. It is very important that you provide. You know, I had to learn to budget certain things, and I'm still learning to budget certain things so that we won't get back in the same ruts that we fall back into. So I'm learning this thing, and it is very important, because if you want the security of your family's money, the health, and the wealth and everything, because you are ultimately responsible for everything in this arena, amen? So you ought to provide, and it's important that you provide for your family so you don't jeopardize them in that responsibility or in that area. Providing for his families presents a future is one that is sure sign of making or taking his rightful place at the home. So it's a sure sign that you are taking your rightful place where you're supposed to be in your home. The woman isn't supposed to do this. The man is supposed to provide. So you need to take your rightful place as a man to provide. Amen. So we see that it's a sure sign of you taking your rightful place in the home, providing providing the very essence for the existence of a man. This is what you're supposed to do. If you're man enough to have a family, you're man enough to take care of it. So this is the very essence of your manhood. Now, whatever it takes from the family to survive, the man will find a way. Now, you see some men that don't have jobs, they doesn't fit, not intimidated, but kind of seems beneath them to take some jobs, certain fast food jobs and certain things that people may be employing. But I'm a firm believer that $8 an hour is better than $0 an hour. So sometimes as the sole provider, you have to do what you have to do in order to provide for your family. Have to do whatever it takes to survive. Whatever it takes to make a way. Because God has designed the man to do what? To provide. He will lead the man to places he needs to go and to find provisions for his family. Now, man must be responsible enough to move when provision is identified. So when God gives you something, or he tells you, takes you somewhere, moves you somewhere, it may not be where you want to go, but you have to be responsible enough to move when it's identified. It's making a way for you to make a way, for you to make a way for your family. So you have to understand what this is, and you have to identify, because God has taken you places. Now, he must act in a way that will almost portray his ultimate responsibilities, that being the provider. So you have to portray the ultimate responsibilities of being a provider. Regardless of what it is, you have to provide. Now, when men are not providers for the home becomes unsecured. It becomes insecure and incomplete. The home is in jeopardy of being torn by unnecessary pressures and unreasonable oppression. This is due to the fact that the head that the head is not in position, but is out of position. So you're leading your home or your ministry, whatever you're leading, to be open to unnecessary pressures or stresses or unreasonable oppressions and things that's going to set you back, simply because you, as the head, is not in the position. So you have to realize that when you're in a position of leadership, Position of leadership, is important that you provide the necessary things that needs to be provided for the people that are up under you. If it's a ministry, you have to provide the necessary spiritual care or spiritual guidance or whatever it is that they need. You have to provide this so that they won't be spiritually oppressed and they won't be under unnecessary pressures that they need to do. So you, as the head of a position, need to take the rightful position of the head of that position and do what's necessary. If you can't handle it in the ministry, that's okay. Step down. But when you have a family and when you have, your wife and you have children that are looking up to you, you can't step down from that position. You have to be the man that God has called you to be, and you have to, whatever the situation is, whatever it takes, you got to make it happen, simply because they are depending on you. Just as you depend on God to come through, when he comes through, you know he's going to come through. Your family is depending on you. Your ministry is depending on you to come through. So it's very necessary, it's very key that you realize that you have to be the provider, not just financially. It doesn't have to be financially, but spiritually. You have to guide them spiritually. You have to guide them in the ways that need to be guided. You have to understand the people that you are guiding, or that you are leading, so you know what they're sensitive to. So if you know what they're sensitive to, you know what areas you need to work on them in. So once you do that, then you're stepping into your position. But if you're out of position, then everything around you will be in total chaos. I don't want my ministry in total chaos. So I tell you that if you are in a ministry that you cannot handle, that it's important that you step down from that position so that they can get the proper guidance. But if you are at home as a man, you're going to have to make it happen. God isn't going to put more on you than you can bear. So it is very important from this day forth that you realize that you are the provider. And as the provider, as a sole provider, you need to provide in any way that you can. Like Malcolm X says, by any means necessary. See you next time.